Hi, welcome back to my channel. My name is Kate, and in today's video we're going to be talking about all the books I read in the months of June and July. So grab a drink and grab a snack and your little furry friend because we have a lot of books to talk about today. So everyone get comfortable and let's get into the video. My drink of choice today, I have a nice Dr. Pepper in my Chiefs cup. So I feel like I had two very good reading months in terms of quality over quantity, because in the first month, which was June, I did happen to DNF 2 books, which means I was just like not feeling them at all and decided just to move on with my life. So first, I'd like to give a little bit of stats for each month. So we're going to start, of course, with June, and we're going to talk about each book in the order in which I read them. If you don't know, I do have a little journal here where I keep down all the stats and everything about all the books I'm going to talk about. So I'm less rambling, more structured, because my brain likes to go 10 places at once. First, let's start out with the stats. I probably already said that. But for total reads in the month of June, I read 5 books in DNF 2. For a little bit of genre breakdown, I read a total of 4 romances, 2 fantasy, and 1 middle grade. In the month of June, I had 2 5-stars, 1 4.75 star, 1 4-star, 1 2-star, and 2 DNFs. So on average, I don't think counting the DNFs, we had a 4.15 star, which I think is very good because that's over a 4-star. And the average book is like a 3.5 star on Goodreads, so I would say that's pretty good. So now let's get into each and every book I read. The first one we have is Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. This is the first book in the Harry Potter series, and this is our middle grade fantasy. I gave this book a 4 stars, and let me just tell you my thoughts on this book. My own personal beliefs don't really align with the J.K. Rowling, like the author and everything, so I don't necessarily like support her and her beliefs. But I do want to read this series because the Harry Potter like whole fandom is one that is very loved and a lot of people are a part of. And I do love some of the elements of the books, and I do really enjoy the first movie. That is why I wanted to read the series, so I could watch the movies and just do kind of like a compare and a contrast, because I watched the Harry Potter movie, the first one, when I was really young, before I had opinions and everything of my own, and it did become a movie that I really enjoyed. And so I never, when I was in middle school and stuff, I never read the books, and I was just like, no time like the present. Like I didn't want to be like 30 years old and just now reading the books, because I wanted it to be still when I did have some, like juvenile like mind, like my brain wasn't fully developed sort of thing. And so, and if we're gonna be totally transparent, I do want to read the Harry Potter series so I can read Draco and Hermione fan fictions. Like there's a lot of published books now that are like loosely based off that, and so that's a lot of the big reason I am reading the series, and also because I want to go to Universal and get a wand. So yeah, so I don't feel like you have to say that you agree with the author, but you can still read their books, and I didn't use my own money to buy the book, so just letting everyone know that. And so just a little bit of all that aside, as far as the books, I think it was pretty enjoyable. It was very fast paced. I read it in like 2 days, 2 sittings, and obviously it's their first year at Hogwarts, so it is very young reading and like the level, and from my understanding, as the books progress and as the characters progress, they get more and more like mature sort of. And so I think that for what it was pretty good. That's why I gave it a 4 stars. But I do think the books will probably get better, and I think as far as plot points, the books and the movies are pretty much like really similar or almost spot on. I just think some of like the character dynamics, or like the character, like how they act, like Harry especially, like he feels different as like the portrayed on-screen version versus like reading through his point of view in his head. He seems a little more confident in the books, but it's been a month since I read it, so I don't remember that much about all that. So yeah, overall it was good for what it was, and I am going to be continuing the series. So the next 2 books I read in the month of June were The Wolf King and The Night Prince. These are both by the same series, both my 2 favorite reads of the entire month of June. I gave both of these a 5-star, and they are my favorite fantasy books that I have read this year, and honestly in a long time. So they've made their way to the top of #1 fantasy series, because it used to be Powerless, but we all know what happened with that. I absolutely love this book. It's sort of set like in the Scottish Highlands, and it's so good, guys. It's so good. The atmosphere and the setting and everything, and they wear kilts, and I'm just like, yes, yes, 110% yes. And these books are actually so good. I even got my grandma onto reading them, and we were both clawing at the walls for book 3, and it got pushed back, which we were sad about. But the thing is, I'm okay if it get pushed back if it makes the book better and we have the best story possible. So I'm okay with that, and she is too. Some things I absolutely love about the series are the main characters. Our female main character, she's great, she's beautiful, she's whatever. But our male main characters, and yes, I said characters, there are 2 because we have a little love triangle situation going on. And I know love triangles are pretty much hated on most of the time, but this one is worth your time. Trust me. We have like sort of that like dynamic where it's like one's their best friend, but one it's like you're kind of written in the stars and then whatever, and it's like, are we gonna go with this one, are we gonna go with that one, like which is better for us, sort of thing, like through the female main character's point of view. And I really, really love it when it's like there's 2 great options, but we love them for different reasons. And so I really appreciate this love triangle because it keeps us on our toes and it keeps us interested. Honestly, there's nothing I didn't like about this book. I love the fantastical elements of it. I love the werewolves, the paranormal, whatever aspects of it. And I just think the setting was great. The interpretations of werewolves and everything was great. And I really, really liked it. So I would definitely recommend if you love like a simple, like it didn't take too much brain thinking until like the end of the second book. And I'm not saying that it's like simple or not well thought out or anything like that. It's just like easy to read, which is something I appreciate, and it's really bingeable, which I really love because I read these books both in a matter of days, and they just like, I can't wait for the 3rd book. I really need to see what happens so much, and I am definitely, I don't know how to say this without spoiling, but what team I'm on, I'm just gonna show you the book. If you know, you know. That's what team I am for the love triangle. Let me just tell you a thing this man said. So basically, they were having like there's like a scene that was happening in this book. Our female main character says, "You came," and then the male main character says, "Did you truly think I would not?" And it just like had me like outward reaction, screaming, giggling, all the stuff. Absolutely loved these books. On my disappointments of this month, we have Off to the Races by Elsie Silver. I gave this book 2 stars, and I just think I had pretty low expectations going in, knowing that it was Elsie Silver's first book, and my expectations like weren't even met. They were like below my expectations. I just didn't really enjoy either of the characters. I thought that their dynamic, I didn't like their dynamic either. I didn't think that they had like chemistry or anything. And one thing about me is like, I don't have characters to root for in a romance book, then I don't care about anything else. And honestly, if it wasn't Elsie Silver, I would have DNF'd it or just like gave it a 1 star. But I don't know, I like kind of hate read it at the end, but I think for what it was, it's fine. It's just wasn't for me at all. And I think that some of her like more recent works are really so great. And obviously this is her first book, so I don't want to like hype on it and say her writing's bad or anything, but I definitely think as a writer she's had so much growth, and she's one of my favorite authors. Like, if you can't see, I have like a whole shrine right here. Speaking of things that just fell flat for me, and that is Fairy Tale. I didn't really know what I was getting into when going this. I tried to go in as blind as possible, but I did have like some expectations that like this book was going to change my life, because a lot of people who read that kind of went in like kind of had like, this is the best book I've ever read sort of. And I think I just really wanted that to be for me. Like, I really wanted this book to be for me, and it just wasn't. I got up to like over 50% of the way through, almost to page 400, and it just fell flat for me. It's not that I didn't understand what was going on, because I did. Like, I didn't think it was that complex. I just didn't care, because I didn't really care about our male main characters and our female main character. I just thought she was our female main character. I just thought like I couldn't find anything to connect to her with, and her story and everything, like to the point I read, it just seemed a little bit all over the place. And something else, that there was like different versions, and it was like giving like not like in the sense like Marvel where it's like multiverse, it was like different time period sort of thing, and so it was just kind of like throwing me off. And I don't know. And then our male main characters, because I think there's two, I guess it was a love triangle. I don't really know what was going on, but one of them just gave me the total ick, and then the other one gave me nothing at all. So I was like, both of you, I could do without. And I just think that the genre of this, because it was like romance, fantasy, horror, gothic, paranormal, historical, gothic, dark, I already said that, but like dark romance, and it just was doing a lot, not in a sense that I could connect it. I appreciate like what the author was doing and like how she brought them all together, and I think that for the people that this is like a 6-star read, I see why it is for you. It just did nothing for me, and I just didn't want to keep on reading a book that I didn't think I was gonna like. So yeah, I was disappointed in that, but you know, it has to do with my brain, not the book. And to move on to a very positive note, we have Love Theoretically by Ali Hazelwood. Now, Ali Hazelwood originally was just like an author that I was just like, about. Like, before this, I read like 2 of her books, and I was like, one was good, one was okay, right there. And so, reading this, I kind of felt like this one would be more of my favorite, just with things I've heard about. And let me just say, this is my favorite Ali Hazelwood book I have read. I really, really, really love both of the characters. And again, I love a good character. Like, sue me. Like, if it's not good characters, I don't love it, sort of thing. But I really, really, like, resonated a lot with a female main character. I thought she was very relatable. I thought she was a hard worker. And I loved the amount, like, of effort she put in towards her goals. And she was very, like, get it done type of girl, which I really liked. And then Jack, he was just tall, handsome, smart, like, a total package. But he was, like, he's also like the kind of guy who's not necessarily nice, but he's really kind, and that's something I love in men in general, but like especially fictional men. Like, you can be kind of moody and stuff to everyone else, but to her, like, you show your soft side, sort of thing. And I don't know, I thought he was very thoughtful. I gave this a 4.75 star. I don't know if I said that, but the only reason I didn't give it a 5 star was because the third act conflict was giving like mad scientist vibes. I don't know, it was just giving to me like Nickelodeon, Cartoon Network, like we're in a lab blowing stuff up sort of thing. Like, and that's not really what it was. I felt very more serious than it needed to be, and it just kind of took me out of the book for a second. But other than that, I thought this book was a absolute banger, and I would definitely recommend it to anybody who loves them a good STEM romance with 2 very strong main characters that are very even stronger together, but they're so strong on their own, which I very, very appreciated and loved in this book. Now we're going to talk about our last read for the month of June, and that is Out of the Gate, also by Elsie Silver. This is book 1.5 in the Gold Rush Rant series, and I feel like this one's on me. This one's on me for not liking it because I didn't like the first book. So, but I just think like, before I start rambling, I did DNF it. I was like, there's no point in me finishing this. Like, once I realized who the characters were and who it was about, I was like, I don't care. I don't care. I just think it was a little, like, weird to have, like, the character who was such a main conflict in the first book have, like, their story sort of thing in this little novella. Because maybe some people wanted to see it, but me personally, I was like, if this is the bad guy or whatever, I don't care about his story. Like, he's not, like, sort of, like, it's not like he's Anakin Skywalker. So I'm like, bad guy, don't care, sort of thing. And yeah, I mean, honestly, unless you absolutely are interested, I would skip this. So that is everything that I read in the month of June. So now let me shut up about June and talk about all the books I read in July. And I would say July was a really good reading month, if I do say so myself. At the end there, I did reach a little bit of a slump, and I'll tell you right now why. It's because I'm currently reading Redeeming Six, which is the 4th book in the Boys Atonement series, and I absolutely love these characters with my whole heart. Just thinking about it makes me want to start bawling my eyes out, but I struggle a lot with anxiety, depression, ADD, and so, like, trying to read a book that makes me feel so, like, in my soul hurt and everything, it's like, this is ink on paper, and I can't separate it. Like, I am one of those people crying about a book, so I just don't think I'm in the headspace to read it. So, and then I started reading it anyway, so it's kind of on me, but obviously it's gonna be a 6-star read, like God tier, like tops any other book that I've ever read, sort of thing. So it's just like, I'm taking my time with it, and that's why I read 5 books in July when I had plenty of time to read more. I've just been, and also I've been on a reality kick TV, like whatever thing. I've been watching Below Deck, and let me just tell you, it has changed my life. I've never been a TV person. I've never like watched a TV show and then finished it all the way through. And granted, I haven't with Below Deck, but I'm there. I'm sat and I'm watching. Like for July, we had a total of 5 reads, and they were all 5 of them romance. So I think honestly that's why we had such a great reading month, because we were just sticking with what we know, and that is romance, and that is fine men, and that is good times, you know. And so obviously we had 5 romance, but they're all sort of different romance. So we had a dark romance, we had a contemporary romance, we had a paranormal romance, and then we had 2 romantic suspense, which is a new thing for me. So, but I guess I kind of like it. So we'll talk about those in a second. So for star ratings, rating breakdown, we had 1 5-star, 3 4.5 stars, 1 4.25 star. The first 3 books I'm going to talk about, I did read in a like 5-star predictions vlog, and only one of them was 5 stars, so maybe I don't know myself that much. But it was all off vibes, so yeah. If you want to see like a little bit more why I picked it for that video, go watch that video. Not trying to like brag about myself or whatever the words terminologies are. The first book I read in the month of July was God of Ruin by Rena Kent. This is the 4th book in the Legacy of God series. So I give this a 4.5 star, and I actually really enjoyed it, and I wasn't expecting it because I gave 5 stars to God of Alice, but the other 2 I was just like, this is cringe. So when I'm in the mood to read dark romance, I like them, but when I'm not, I'm like, I'd rather be doing something else, sort of thing. But I was in the mood for this, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. So, and in this book, I really like the characters. I love the FMC. I thought she is what really made this book stand apart from the rest of them. Mia, who's a female main character in this book, is selective mute, and I just think her whole story and her whole trauma is what really made this one stick out to me. Obviously, it's horrible what she went through, but it did add more entertainment value, I guess. Like, I feel horrible saying that, but, you know, it's the truth. Her story and her personality and her and Landon, who's the male main character's dynamic, are what set this book apart for me and made me like it a lot more than some of the other ones I've read by Rena Kent. And so I did really like Landon's development. You know, he is a diagnosed, like, psychopath, so he doesn't really know how, his brain doesn't work like neurotypical people's do. So his whole like personality and like character art was really interesting to me. I really appreciated the way he like stepped up to the plate for Mia, like in all aspects, and he was like never gonna back down. He was like, I want her, and like I'm gonna do whatever it takes, sort of thing, but still doing it in a way where he like respected her, and he like tried his hardest to feel and like be there for his family and for Mia, which I really thought was really sweet of him, because he doesn't know what like love is or whatever it's called. Like, he doesn't know how to feel emotions like other people feel emotions, sort of thing. There's just 1 or 2 things didn't give it a 5-star, and that's because it took me 100 pages to get into it. Like, the first 100 pages before I really knew the characters, I was like, this is boring. Landon's just being boring. Like, I thought he was crazy. And so then all that started picking up, and I was like, yes, here, I'm sat. And some of the like more dark romance tropes things I've never read about before. If you know what I'm talking about, you know, like the trigger warnings and stuff. I was like, what is wrong with me? Like, why is this interesting? So, The Conditions of Will by Jessa Hastings. Now, I'm gonna try my very best just to stick to bullet points on this book, because if you watch my 5-star reading video, not to mention it again, but I literally could talk about this book for days. Like, I tab the heck out of this book. If you couldn't already tell, this is a 5-star read. This is probably my top book of the year so far, or it is my top book of the year so far, and then unless I finish Redeeming 6, which I will eventually, like, that's the only thing I could see topping this. But I absolutely love this story, and it hits really close to home, I guess is the best way to say it. This is like a contemporary romance, but it's more like, I would say more literary fiction with a little sprinkle of romance, but I just put it as contemporary because I don't want to get all the specifics when I'm writing down. So yeah. Absolutely loved the female main character, absolutely loved the male main character. Every other character, unless they had a little bit of an character arc, I was like, freak you, hate you, everyone. Didn't like most of the characters, and that's a lot of the part that made this story so interesting. The part that made this book really stick out to me was the sort of messages that were talked about and how they were handled. And I just, again, like, I feel really deeply for this female main character and like some of the things she goes through, but then also like her own inner monologue. I was like, is this play about us, or like whatever the saying is? And so yeah, I really enjoyed this book. I would definitely recommend, but definitely look up topic warnings, because there are some very like hard, they are difficult, bad, whatever the words are talked about. So yeah, but I think the way Jessa Hastings executed in this book was very great. And this next one was also in my 5-star reading video, and that is Bride by Ali Hazelwood. I was like, Love Theoretically was so good, let me try another one for her. And honestly, this one was not bad at all. I gave this a 4.25. This is a paranormal romance. I really like the interpretation of humans, werewolves, and vampires and how they all coexist, and basically like the whole setting. I thought the setting was very intriguing, and that's what I loved the most about this book, was Ali Hazelwood's interpretation of the like vampire species and the werewolf species. And so obviously they're not real or whatever, but like they were different. Like the vampires and werewolves in this book, or the werewolves in this book, to me were different than the werewolves in The Wolf King, and that's what you'll see in like any series or with any author. So I really liked her interpretation of it, and the whole like, I think there was a lot of deeper messaging hidden amongst this like supposed to be like fun paranormal romance, and I definitely could see like signs of like a lot of talking about, again, like race, ethnicity, beliefs, and all that kind of stuff. I feel like was like discreetly talked about in this. So I do appreciate when like a fun book or whatever does have some deeper messaging that you can like really take and hold on to. I really liked being in our female main character Misery's inner monologue because of the whole like interpretation of vampires. I thought her thoughts and her like the way she thought was very interesting, because it's nothing like I've never read. I don't think I've ever read a book before where the like main protagonist was a vampire, so I thought that was very interesting. Just some things I didn't really like was the male main character. It's not that he did anything wrong. I mean, well, actually, he did something that I really hate, and is when men use women's insecurities as a way to like bring them down, which he did do. So trigger warning, which I did not like that. Like, it doesn't matter if you're fighting, or it doesn't matter like whatever, if you're mad at each other, like no, like if you really love them, you won't do that. But again, these are werewolves, vampires, so they're not really like, they don't have like that same human brain sort of feeling thing. So, and yeah, so then like anytime the characters were like making out or kissing or doing any sort of like smut or whatever, I just was like like it took me out. Like I was just like, this is not for me. Like I just don't care. Like I don't care about the male main character to like enjoy reading this, so I did like pages were skipped in those parts. The last two books I have to talk about are also a part of a series, and that is the Bourbon Brothers series. Now this is an interesting time, and I'm not mad about it. These are both romantic suspense. I give these both a 4.5 star, and I'm just gonna kind of talk about them as a one, because I have like literally like the same opinions about both books, even though they are two separate books. I didn't really like one more than the other, sort of thing. I feel like I really liked both female main characters a lot, and I really liked both male main characters, but for different reasons. I would say if I was going to pick a man for myself, I would probably say Lincoln from Bourbon and Secrets, and if I was going to pick to be a girl or whatever, maybe again this one. So maybe I like this one a little bit more, but I did read this one first, so I was like, I don't know, they're just kind of like very even for me, like maybe a little sort of thing. One's a little harder than the other, but like they're the same to me. And so when I read these, I was very much in the mood to read a romantic suspense, or like, because I heard that these were like a good spicy fun time sort of thing. So I was like, I'm here for this, and they definitely delivered on that front. I think the intimate parts that both sets of characters had was very, very nice, very intriguing, very kept me reading sort of thing, like it was fun to read about, like I'm not gonna lie. But the suspense part of it, I was just like, I don't really care. The romantic part of it was good. That was really great. The suspense part of it, I was like, what are we doing? Like, I don't care. Sort of thing. Like, it did keep me, like, turning the page. I just, in the grand scheme of things, didn't care. Sort of thing. Like, that's what you'll notice about me. If I love the characters, I care. Like, if I don't love something, I don't care, like, sort of thing. I would definitely recommend this series if you are in the mood for the topics that it's talking about. But, you know, they do have, like, trigger warnings and stuff, so look that up. And if you're in the mood for that, then go right ahead. I was gonna read the third book, but then I saw Redeeming Six on my shelf, and I was like, I need to read her. I want to read her. And now here I am in a slump because of it. So yeah, so that is all 10 books I read in the months of June and July, not counting those 2 DNFs, because those are going to be erased from this brand and put on the DNF part of my shelf. A lot of these books I really recommend, and even if I don't recommend them, I would still like take the chance to read them if it's something you're interested, because just because I didn't like something doesn't mean you're gonna not like it, sort of thing, and vice versa in all the ways. And so again, I just had 2 very good months of reading, and I'm really glad that I read a lot of these books, and I feel like some of them found me at like the perfect times. I'm looking at you, those 3 5 stars. That is all for today's video. Thank you again so much for watching. I really appreciate it, and comment what your favorite book of the month was, because mine was The Conditions of Will for July, and then we know The Wolf King and the Night Prince for June. So again, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Also, let me know if there's any books you want to see me read or any books you want to see me review, because I'm definitely open to anything. Any videos I like to see, I'm willing to put in the time and effort for y'all. So thank you again so much for watching. I love you all. I'll see you next time. Love you. Bye.